I'm going to introduce you. Good afternoon, everyone. It is such a pleasure to see all of the faces, and especially my students. Students, give me a wave. Woo, yes, those are my beautiful babies. So good afternoon, everyone. This is exciting for Malcolm X Elementary School. It gives me great pleasure to host an American Federation of Teachers here with me. Oh my gosh. And especially this Reading Opens the World event. The AFT and First Book are appearing with us to kick off a nationwide effort, an effort to bring 1 million books to families. Woo! How exciting. Yes. Here at Malcolm X Elementary School, we believe it takes a village to raise a Malcolm X Elementary School, and we believe that. And saying that we are a community school that is inclusive in meeting the needs of our students, families, community, and never forget our staff. Students' best education in DCPS and beyond starts right here, every day. Our students are loved, they are challenged, and they're prepared. They're prepared to take on education success in any way they go when they leave here. Our students exhibit the trauma and the social skills of our society in this ward of the city, and this is Ward 8. We have shored up our program with a phenomenal wellness team. Phenomenal wellness team and partnerships to support our students' social and emotional learning. We're the beacon of hope here. We hope that our students will get the best because we have the best. Here we will let them just flourish and go anywhere that life takes them. Families are vital partnerships for the success of their students in our school. Our school builds and fosters relationships with our families to meet their needs as well. We have social workers that help our families with housing, food, services, clothing, and it's highly needed in this area. And we have 4 social workers that work tirelessly to make sure that the families get what they need, because if they don't, then it shortchanges our children. UPO, Infant Toddler Child Development Center, we did the ribbon cutting ceremony last week, and so now not only do we have pre-K through 5th grade, we have 6-month-old students to 2 years, and then they go to early childhood. Yes, and so we're excited that we'll have our babies come right down the hall and then up the steps all the way till they get to the 5th grade. So we're excited about that. Also, we have parent classes with UPO, parenting classes and professional development, and I'm really excited about that, especially helping them with GED, helping them with education, helping them to apply for jobs, helping them to interview, helping them to get clothing for interviews, also helping them to do mock interviews and parenting skills. Once they told me they were a full package, I said, come to me, please. Help us help my community. So they're here with us. We also have UPO grandparents. UPO grandparents in the house. Woo! Yes. Our United Planning Organization, UPO. Stand up one time for me, Grandma Meacham. Yes. Yes, we have exactly about 4 or 5 grandparents who are helping throughout the building. But not only are they grandparents for the building, they have grandchildren that attend my school. So it's a family affair. Yes, it is. Employment with Malcolm X and DCPS is utmost. So I'm always seeking employment from my community. I have hired custodians for Wilson High School, Sousa Middle School, and also for my school to help us. I also have educational aides. Educational aides, moms, Ms. Hubbard, yes, Ms. Walker, yes. Those are our moms. Ms. Toon, grandparent, educational aide, yes. So we are fabric of this community. I also have our substitute teachers, Mr. Houston and Miss Maxwell. Miss Maxwell's son graduated from our school. So this is a family affair, and we give back. And so I just talked to a parent this morning, and I always say, hi, how are you doing? And she's such a bubbly parent. I said, can I ask you a personal question? Are you employed? She said, no, not really. And I said, would you want to be employed with us? And she's like, sure. I said, I need an educational aid. So I'm always seeking out to make sure my families have positions. If I don't have it, I will find it for them. And now that we have UPO helping with interviews and helping with clothing and helping them to also construct a resume, we are going to have our community employed right here and through DCPS. Yes. We also have partnership wraparound services with counseling services with MBI, that we know that if we don't have services for our families and just have services in school for any kind of mental health or behavioral health, it starts at home. So we have wraparound services for our families as well. And the Office of Attorney General Carl Racine has helped us with attendance. So wonderful, because we know that our parents have trials and tribulations trying to get their kids to school for one reason or another. And instead of calling the Child Protective Services, our Office of Attorney General Carl Racine has had a platoon of people who go out and talk to parents and see exactly why they're not coming to school. Instead of doing something that's more evasive, he's there with his team, and that's been wonderful. We have stand-up show out with attendance. We also have Morgan University, Howard University, George Washington University in the back. Yes, she's my VISTA worker, helping me with partnerships, Miss Briscoe. We have Howard University also, and Morgan. Is Miss Howard, is she here? No. So we do have Miss Howard, who's studying to be a social worker as well. We have the Department of Behavioral Health, Department of Behavioral Health, and also Department of Health. So it's so many things that we do have here at Malcolm X. Note, I am the luckiest and the proudest principal on earth to lead and love my Malcolm X family that you see, some of them here, right here. So right now, I want to move on with the program, because I will brag about my school forever, ever, ever, and ever. Yes, I will. I love my school. So our illustrious guests will share more information about this awesome opportunity for our families across the nation. And I first want to introduce the president of the Washington Teachers Union, Ms. Jacqueline Pogue Lyons.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want you all to know that I first met Principal Barry Young 23 years ago. We were both 15 years old when we both started teaching. Well, she was already there, but we started teaching kindergarten together at Thompson Elementary School. And she has always been a fierce advocate for children, particularly early childhood children. So I want to thank her. I want to thank the teachers and the staff here at Malcolm X for welcoming us into the school. My first message is for the children of Malcolm X. I'm going to give you a famous quote from Malcolm X. He said, "People don't realize how a man's whole life can be changed by one book." So what I want to show you all here at Malcolm X, the children and the students of Malcolm X, this is a book that thoroughly changed my life. It is the autobiography of Malcolm X, and it was also written along with another famous writer and another famous, what I would like to call freedom fighter, because we all know Malcolm X was a freedom fighter too. And it was written along with another famous man named Alex Haley. And when I say to you, I read this book when I was in high school, and it thoroughly changed my life. My hope and my prayer for you all is that you also find a book or maybe several books that help to change your life and change your trajectory of what you do in your life. So with that, I'd also want to thank those who've come here today to help celebrate books. I'd like to thank Liz Schuler, and I'd also like to thank Deanna Foster for coming here, taking time out of their busy schedules to come and visit with us and celebrate books. And I'd like to thank them for their continued leadership and support of both workers and families. So thank you. And I'm going to keep it short and brief by saying, last but certainly not least, I would also like to thank my AFT family for honoring the WTU. Yes, we can clap for that. For honoring, and it is truly an honor for me, for honoring the WTU by kicking off their literacy campaign right here in the District of Columbia and right here at Malcolm X. I hope our students know that this is a campaign that's going to kick off all over America, and it's a campaign to give away 1 million books, and they took time out of their busy schedule to come right here to Malcolm X in Ward 7 in Southeast to say, in Ward 8, excuse me, please don't send the nasty emails to me. I'm stand corrected. Ward 8 right here, and that means a lot to us. I'd also like to thank Randy Weingarten, president of the AFT. I'd also like to thank Evelyn DeSuze, homegirl from New York, for coming here today, vice president. And last, also but not least, Fed Ingram, secretary treasurer, for coming here. I want everyone else to know that not only are they here today, but they have totally supported the WTU and the city and its students and its community to safely coming back to school. They've supported us, yes, they've supported us with a $70,000 grant to give away books. They've supported us in getting children and teachers safely back into the classroom. And their leadership has been ahead of its time in saying, what are we going to do with this new normal now that we've come out of this pandemic? We knew things weren't where they needed to be before the pandemic. How can we have a renaissance in education? So with that, I want to bring up Randy Weingarten, who has given me so much support during this year of change. And during this unprecedented time, she has been a friend, she has been a supporter, and someone that I know I would not have gotten through this time if it wasn't for her and the leadership of the AFT. Thank you.
Okay, I am going to take my mask off to speak. Okay? I say that for the record because you know what happens in social media, right? So I'm taking my mask off to speak. Oh my God, we're doing books today. And this is a facsimile. This is a model of a bus that's going to go all across America, doing the same thing as we're doing in Washington, D.C. today. Are you excited? Yeah. I didn't hear you. Are you excited? Yeah. So I have to do a little bit of explaining. And so I'm really glad that we're at Malcolm X. And Ms. Barry Young, I couldn't keep up with all of the services that you do in the school. It's pretty awesome. And thank you for leading, and thank you for this great community school, because we know it does take a village, and you have actually helped restore the village. And thank you very, very, very much. And Jackie, the national office is in Washington. We're family. We got each other's back. The WTU, the AFT. And so, of course, when we're doing a literacy initiative, the first one of its kind in a long time, of course we would do it in, our backyard. Of course. And so today, as we are launching in Washington, D.C. with our two other officers, Fed Ingram. Fed, please stand so that everybody sees you. The Secretary Treasurer. He's from Florida. He thinks it's cold today, by the way. And one of the most ingenious and creative reading teachers in New York City, who happens to now be our Executive Vice President, Evelyn De Jesus. Please, Evelyn, stand up. You got the whole family here, all the officers, and this is this program that we are launching today. A lot of it came from Evelyn's head and Evelyn's heart. From Marla Usali-Kashup, who is the head of Ed Issues. Stand up, Marla. From so many people who are here, including Leslie Getzinger. I know you're standing, but Leslie and Jen Chang, I just want you to stand up. I know you are standing. That's normally a joke I give myself. And Leah Daughtry, who happens to have been the project manager for this. Leah, you stand up. The reason I'm announcing a lot of people is that, this doesn't just appear. There's a lot of people who are involved because this is really important. And why do I say this is really, really important? And you're going to hear from the next speakers, so I'm not going to introduce them yet. I will introduce them as I speak. Why is this really important? Because reading does open the world. What a good book does. If you're a kid in rural West Virginia, the suburbs of Texas, or Southeast DC, you open a book, you open the world. And it doesn't matter what book it is. As long as it's something that's interesting to someone, as long as someone says, this is what I want to know, and then it becomes yours. This is part of the reason we're giving out 1 million books. I can't even count to 1 million. But when you read, you see a light, you see possibilities, dreams. But you have to have books. And frankly, rich folk, they provide books to kids all the time. We got to make sure in the aftermath of this pandemic that all kids have books at home, and that's part of what this is. And we're starting it around the holidays because look, this has been a rough few years. Last 2 years have been pretty rough. So there's a winter break coming up. There's times we're going to be together. And so wouldn't it be great? Parents and kids have books around to read with each other, and have that kind of joy as part of this season of gratitude and this season of giving, which is why, just like we're doing this today, we're doing these kind of launches in 20 other places in the next few days. And in fact, in one of those places, Evelyn and I were in Puerto Rico just last Saturdays ago. And we did a reading like we're about to do after we finish speaking. And we had a young adult, Rafi, who didn't speak until he was 5 or 6 or 7. And he was reading a book about Sonia Sotomayor with me. I was reading in English. He was reading in Spanish. By the middle of the book, he was teaching me both English and Spanish. And we had a whole bunch of other kids and parents. And it was just an amazing moment of love and enjoyment. Because that feeling of getting lost in a book, of learning from a book, of relating to By the way, do you know who Sonia Sotomayor is?
Oh, yes, my heart.
Okay, somebody tell me, who is Sonia Sotomayor? She's a judge. Exactly. She's a judge of the United States Supreme Court. And the reason we were reading the book in Puerto Rico is because her parents were Puerto Rican, and you could see the love in their eyes, the kids' eyes, to know that. So that's the feeling of getting lost in a book, of learning from a book, of relating to the characters, of setting up the story, of knowing the book will stay with you forever. That's the joy of reading. So, that's kind of sort of why the AFT is launching the Reading Opens the World campaign. And of course, first and foremost, is to give children and young people free books to read, to love, to keep, and to open the world. But that's not all of this. The second piece of this program is to give teachers and school staff, our paraprofessionals, our bus drivers, our school secretaries, our guidance counselors, the tools and professional development that translates, that takes the science of reading and puts it into usable resources to help students read and read well. The third piece is to give parents and caregivers fun and resourced and researched-based tips and tools to support literacy. So you don't have to just have a book, and if someone stumbles on a word, you can actually learn the tips of the trade that we know in terms of helping kids read. And fourth, and you do this already in the school, this very young, fourth is to create more of these kind of community schools, build on and forge the new connections between families and communities and educators so that we're all partners in each other's and in students' literacy. So that's what the campaign is. It's to figure out, it's to come together, it's to support our kids, it's to support all of you guys in every single way, but really, truly, to make sure there's this love of reading. Because we know, after these 2 years of disruption, as a result of COVID, this harnessing of the love of reading is key to helping everybody recover. So I can go on and on and on and on and on, but this is a 4-part program that is aimed at lifting everyone. Lifting teachers, giving them a new kind of just-in-time tips on reading that we're going to have on our Share My Lesson website, a new course, so that instead of having to go to a course, we're learning about new technology. We're going to bring the course to you at no cost to you, because it's about time that the districts all across America treat educators in the respect in which they need to be treated and make these things affordable. No more of this trying to dig for dollars like we saw in South Dakota. So it's about having these resources for teachers. It's about creating joy and connection with parents. And of course, it's about making sure kids have books. Now, there's a couple of partners we already have with this, one of whom I'm about to introduce right now, which was, we don't make these books at the AFT headquarters. It's pretty hard to find 1 million books. But there is one person in the universe who I know who can do this, and who can make sure we have books with diverse titles and get it in a way that's affordable for us to buy 1 million books. And that person is Kyle Zimmer, who is the CEO of First Book. First Book is this amazing organization that the AFT has had a relationship with for the last 10 years. They understand that books are important, but we got to get it into your hands. And they have developed all sorts of different ways to do this through all sorts of different magic that I don't even still understand. And with that, I want to introduce to you that brilliant, brilliant purveyor of books and reader extraordinaire, Kyle Zimmer.
So here I am taking my mask off. Thank you so much, Randy. That is quite a high-pressure introduction, isn't it? No pressure. I remember the day 10 years ago when we launched this partnership together, and it's just been extraordinary. There have been books in kids' hands and books in teachers' hands all over the country, but today is different. Today is different. Today, with the launch of Reading Opens the World, this catapults our work together to an entirely new level. And we're just thrilled. We're just thrilled. And the timing is perfect because, we all got our eyes open and we all became very focused on the digital divide during the pandemic. And that's important, and we're working on that as well. But what we can't forget is the print divide. There are millions and millions of kids growing up without access to the beautiful books they need to become readers, to fall in love with reading, to become wonderful community members, and to take charge of their lives and their families in extraordinary ways. And the adventure starts by opening a book, as Randy has said. Now, I started First Book 30 years ago with a couple of friends of mine, and we put this idea together specifically to work on inequality in education. And we've been working and stretching and growing all those years to get to this moment, to get to this level of impact. So I'm completely thrilled to be here. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't put a plug in, because at the heart of First Book is something called the First Book Network. And our network are educators in formal settings and informal settings, serving kids in need from 0 to 18 all over the country. And that community now numbers about 525,000 members, 30% of whom are AFT members. So I'm delighted now. But we need every single Title I and Title I eligible school in our community. So please, if you're not registered, register with us, reach out to your friends and your colleagues, get them signed up. It's free, it's fast, it takes like 5 minutes. There's no obligation whatsoever. The bigger we build this community, the lower we can push the prices of books, and most importantly, the higher we can push diversity of the content, and also just the relevancy, so that we're reflecting the needs you see, the challenges you have, and the great lives of the kids you serve. And so please, please join us. And let me thank you for joining us today, because it's extraordinary. Randy, your leadership, my friends at AFT, you guys have always been like family every step, every day. And here we are at this extraordinary moment. And it's going to roll across the country and across to communities, wonderful communities who are waiting for our help. So thank you so much.
So, the next person, I said that we have several partners. One of our partners, and we'll have more and more, but one of our partners is the new head of the AFL-CIO, the leading labor organization in America. And when I told her we were doing this, Liz Schuler says, sign us up. Because working families all across the country need to be part of our family educator covenant with each other. And with that, Liz Schuler.
Hello, everybody. We are so appreciative to be a part of today, and I just want to thank Principal Barry Young and everyone at Malcolm X Elementary for hosting us today and making this wonderful event possible. And everyone's been thanked already, but I'll just say a quick thank you to Randy and Fed and Evelyn at AFT, of course, Miss Jackie at WTU, and Ms. Kyle, Diana I know is in the room. We have 57 unions in our umbrella. 12.5 million working people that are standing with me up here. And I'm so excited to see all of you, and I have a really important question. Are you listening? Okay. Who is your favorite superhero? Okay, right over here. Just shout it out. Let's hear. Superman! I hear a lot of Supermans. Okay. I see a lot of hands, but not a lot of shouting. But we all have our favorite superhero, right? I've heard Wonder Woman over here. I heard Tristan Strong. I heard the Very Hungry Caterpillar. Hey, why not? I think that's a superhero. So I just want to say those are all great answers. But I'm going to tell you a secret. My favorite superheroes are right here in this room. And that is your teachers and the school staff and the SRPs and the volunteers and the parents and grandparents and all of you. And I would say reading is a superpower because it unlocks your imagination and it opens up whole new worlds. And if we didn't have books and if we didn't have stories, we wouldn't have our favorite superheroes, would we? And superheroes show us how to overcome challenges. And one of the most important ways to overcome challenges is by reaching out for help and by working together. And we know this year's been really hard, as you heard, and to make sure that everyone had safe classrooms and to make sure that you came in here and you felt safe, you had these amazing heroes like Randy and like Jackie and so many others to make sure that schools could reopen safely. And you know how all the Avengers work together to defeat the villain and keep everybody safe? That's how our teachers and staff and our unions worked to make everybody safe. So we are here to help you succeed in school, at home, and throughout your lives, because we believe that every one of you can be a superhero too. What do you think? And guess what helps you get there? Reading. So you ready to use your superpowers and read today? That's what I thought. Thank you so much. I look forward to reading with you.
Okay. Welcome, Malcolm X Elementary family and friends, to today's Reading Opens the World event hosted by the American Federation of Teachers. My name is Hannah Hong, the school librarian here at Malcolm X Elementary, and it is my honor to share with you in being part of this amazing initiative. First and foremost, we all love our Malcolm X students, and I think we can all agree that reading is fundamental. Instilling that love for reading at an early age is critical in continuing their academic, social, and emotional growth and building upon their overall educational foundation. Reading is a powerful tool that welcomes a beautiful relationship to form between your child and the book. It expands the mind and imagination, nurtures creative and analytical thinking, improves one's vocabulary and writing skills, broadens their mind to a greater and even more diversified global perspective, and develops a sense of belonging amongst their peers. And the list goes on, as these are merely a handful of hundreds of examples of skill sets they will develop in the years and decades to come. James Baldwin, an American novelist, poet, and activist, once shared, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced." We want to emphasize that having access to information through the printed or digital word is an absolute necessity. We are a firm believer that knowledge is power, and books contain an endless amount of it. Through books, we can enrich each of our minds and provide pathways to create future leaders and future change agents throughout our school, throughout our community, and throughout the world. Thank you again to the American Federation of Teachers and First Book for hosting this amazing initiative. But more importantly, thank you, Malcolm X family. We look forward to continuing this very important partnership and advocacy for literacy and ensuring that our children have access to the opportunities and resources needed to read. Remember, reading is leading, and reading opens the world. Thank you, everyone. So before we transition, Principal Barry Young would like to recognize the special leaders who have joined us here today.
I do want to say, if I didn't say, I am a native Washingtonian. Yes, yes. I said to myself, I don't think I said that, but I'm so proud. I have to say that too, along with loving my school and loving my school family. I was raised in Ward 7. My mom was an advocate as far as political advocate. She helped Willie Hardy in Ward 7, the councilwoman. She helped our former mayor, Marion Barry, become Marion Barry with the campaign, she said. And with seeing her on those trails of advocacy, I knew that education had to be locked into advocacy. So going through school, Davis Elementary School, Sousa Middle School, H.D. Woodson in the house, woo woo over there. Teacher, assistant principal, and now proud principal here. But let me stop bragging about being a Washingtonian, because I just love it. I just love it. But anyway, all right, I do want to give these certificates that say Malcolm X School, Washington, D.C. District of Columbia. Certificate of Appreciation. Thank you, Washington Teachers Union, American Federation for Teachers, First Book, for allowing Malcolm X to host Reading Opens the World. Nationwide kickoff on this 14th day of December to Jacqueline Pogue Lyons. Just a little something, we love you. And also, my Shiro. Just let me say about Randy Weingarten. I have followed her career, and she is a fighter for us. And I know some people say their heroes is Beyonce or some. This is my hero. Miss Weingarten is my hero when it comes to public education, when it comes to making sure we were safe, when it comes to fighting the system and saying that we do matter. This is my Shiro. I get so filled up. But here is a certificate, just a little something. Thank you. Thank you so much. Also, I want to give a certificate to Kyle. Yes, Zimmerman? Yes, Zimmer? Yes. I mean, First Books, you're out there pushing books, and believe me, this is a community that needs, because technology is not always in the home, but a book can be in a home. So thank you. Also, Liz Schuler, yes. Let me say, if it wasn't for unions, where would we be fighting for us on the front line, right? Fighting for us, so we thank you, because I'm sure someone in here is part of your union. Yes, they are. So thank you ever so much for your fight for all of us. Thank you. And I do want to say, let's get ready for fun activities, so let it happen, and thank you all.
Yes, it was wonderful music.
There is nothing more exciting than being able to participate in this program over the holiday season.
If they choose their own book, they have that internal desire to interact with the book.
It is about building community all around, and this is one more partnership.
LFT, along with Red River United and Jefferson Federation of Teachers, are proud to bring books like these to families this holiday season as part of the AFT's Reading Opens the World Literacy campaign.